So what brought me to Cherry Street Mission was in the summer of 2012. I had made some seriously poor decisions in my life that ended up in the fall to result in me basically losing everything that I had. I lost my business, I lost my family. At the same time, I was losing my mind. So there was a lot of confusion that was happening during that time, and I really didn't know what to do and where to turn. I had been a Christian my whole entire life. I was brought up in the church. But during that time I started a business, and for me that became my focus. So leading up to the fall of 2012, at that point my life had changed dramatically. I went from being the guy driving a Jaguar and having a nice house and the picture-perfect family to the guy who had nowhere to live. I had no car, and my business was a complete flop. I was, within a short period of time, arrested 3 times. I had went off the edge. I didn't have anything to live for, but didn't really have the guts to kill myself. So it made more sense for me just to live reckless. And during this time, I had gotten myself involved with people that were very scary, and I was finding myself in positions where my life was put on the line many times, and I'd be fighting people. I would have guns pulled on me. And I just didn't care. I was fearless. If you could make a TV movie about my life, you could literally think of the 10 worst possible things that could happen to you, and then you could look at my life and see 12. And as what happened, you could say, oh my gosh, this guy's life could not get any worse. He's hopeless, right? I mean, if you look at it just for face value, his reputation is ruined. He's going to prison for sure. He's probably going to kill himself, get in a drunk driving accident, or wind up in prison. I mean, those were the logical outcomes, really. And all of a sudden, God was like, what are you doing? And I had no answer, right? And within a few hours of that incident, he started to put on my heart, like, just, if you want more, or you want something different, then what you need to do is you need to do an exchange. You know, how about we exchange your life for a new life that looks totally different from anything you thought you knew, ministry-wise, business-wise, all of it. I'm going to take your life, I'm going to transform it completely. And so I'm like, okay, well, how is that possible? And he put the Cherry Street Mission on my heart. It took another 2 or 3 months, to be honest, before that thing inside of me was stirred up enough that I acted. I did not know what to do. I just was me. I would go in and I would one-on-one talk to guys. I didn't know exactly what I was supposed to do and not supposed to do, so I just used all this experience and I used all this crazy stuff in my life just to come down one-on-one and be able to speak openly and honestly with these guys. And I was finding it was extremely receptive. I started to go down into the weight room in the basement and conduct services, right? I didn't know if that was the right thing to do or the wrong thing to do. I really honestly didn't care. I wrote a sermon, and it was called God of the Storm. And it was a very powerful message about going through the storm. And this is coming from a guy who's right in the middle of it. And so I wake up that morning to preach this message, and my passenger side window was smashed out. And the little bit of money that I had was stolen. And I was just like, oh my gosh. And my first reaction, rather than being mad and wanting to punch out the other window, was I smiled. And I kind of laughed about it because I was like, God, this is awesome, because I know I'm doing exactly what you want me to do, right? Because if I didn't have opposition, then I'm just probably going along with the flow, and I'm doing it Remy's way once again, and the results are going to be the same. So I literally went to service that night with a busted out window. I ended up preaching in the laundry room, and it was like 400 degrees in there, and every person that came in to do their laundry was forced to have to listen to me. And I did that, and that was amazing. And I can tell you that when I began to do that, there were things in my life that I can't even explain began to change. I've been able to watch relationships in my life that were destroyed, literally, that were completely gone, come back. And I can attribute it only to me being obedient to God. God wasn't this genie in a bottle for me. He was more of the one handing me a seed and saying, go plant that seed. I want you to go and surrender, everything that you have and give it to these guys, because, they've been where you've been and they're where you're at. And they don't know where to go. They don't know the truth. And they need someone to be raw and real with them and to love them. And as you do that stuff, the reward is going to be their salvation. Because of Cherry Street Mission, I can honestly say that my life has been transformed. My name is Remy Janot, and I'm a volunteer at Cherry Street, and my life has been changed and revitalized.